Once upon a time, Zimbabwe was a rising star in the world of cricket. A nation with incredible talent, unforgettable victories, and a future that seemed brighter with each passing game. But today, Zimbabwe's cricket stands as a shadow of its glorious past. What went wrong? How did a promising cricketing nation fall into despair? This is the story of the rise and fall of Zimbabwe cricket, a journey of triumph, tragedy, and resilience. To truly understand this journey, we must start at its roots. Cricket in Zimbabwe, formerly Rhodesia, dates back to the late 19th century when British colonial settlers introduced the sport. For decades, Zimbabwean teams participated in South Africa's domestic competitions, honing their skills in a competitive environment. However, the country's cricketing ambitions were always aimed at the international stage. Their big break came in 1983, when they made their World Cup debut as an associate nation. In their very first match, Zimbabwe shocked the cricketing world by defeating the mighty Australian team. It was a David versus Goliath moment, and it put Zimbabwe cricket on the global map. This historic victory wasn't an isolated incident, but a testament to the immense potential Zimbabwe possessed. Throughout the 1980s, the team grew stronger, earning respect from cricketing giants. Zimbabwe was known for its fighting spirit and ability to punch above its weight, even against seasoned opponents. By 1992, their hard work paid off when the International Cricket Council (ICC) granted them Test status. Becoming the 9th Test-playing nation was a monumental achievement, and the cricketing world had high expectations for Zimbabwe. The 1990s and early 2000s marked the golden era of Zimbabwe cricket. This was a time when Zimbabwe boasted some of the finest players the game had ever seen. Andy Flower, widely regarded as one of the greatest wicket-keeper batsmen of all time, carried the team on his shoulders with consistent and masterful performances. Heath Streak, a fast bowler par excellence, was the spearhead of Zimbabwe's bowling attack. Alongside them, players like Grant Flower, Alastair Campbell, Paul Strong, and Henry Olonga made Zimbabwe a formidable team capable of competing with the best. The 1999 Cricket World Cup was the pinnacle of Zimbabwe's success. This tournament showcased their potential to the world. They stunned India in a thrilling encounter and followed it up with a remarkable victory against South Africa, one of the strongest teams of that era. These victories catapulted Zimbabwe into the Super 6 stage of the tournament, a feat that remains one of their greatest achievements. Zimbabwe was no longer just an underdog, they were a team that could beat the best on their day.
Behind this success was a robust domestic structure that nurtured talent at the grassroots level. The Logan Cup, Zimbabwe's premier domestic tournament, served as a breeding ground for young cricketers. The cricket board invested in infrastructure and coaching, ensuring a steady supply of skilled players. Zimbabwe cricket wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. Yet, even as they celebrated their success, trouble was brewing beneath the surface. By the early 2000s, Zimbabwe's political landscape began to deteriorate. Under Robert Mugabe's regime, the country was plunged into chaos. Controversial land reforms led to economic instability, widespread unrest, and racial tensions. These issues began to seep into Zimbabwe cricket's administration. The Zimbabwe Cricket Union (ZCU), which had been a symbol of unity and progress, became riddled with corruption and political interference. The focus shifted from merit-based selections to fulfilling political agendas, and this marked the beginning of Zimbabwe cricket's decline. The turning point came in 2004 when Heath Streak, one of the most respected figures in Zimbabwe cricket, was controversially dismissed as captain. His removal led to a revolt among senior players, with 15 of them walking away from the team. These players accused the board of racial bias, favoritism, and incompetence. The exodus of experienced players left a gaping hole in the team, and Zimbabwe cricket was thrown into disarray. With the departure of its best players, Zimbabwe was left to rely on a young, inexperienced squad. The results were disastrous. Zimbabwe struggled to compete at the international level, suffering humiliating defeats. In 2005, the situation reached a breaking point, and Zimbabwe voluntarily withdrew from Test cricket. For 6 years, the nation that had fought so hard to gain Test status was absent from the format, a stark reminder of how far they had fallen. The problems didn't end there. Financial mismanagement within the cricket board further crippled the sport. Allegations of embezzlement and corruption were rampant. Funds meant for player salaries and infrastructure development vanished. Players went unpaid for months, leading many to abandon their cricketing careers or seek opportunities abroad. Domestic tournaments like the Logan Cup were disrupted, leaving young players without a platform to develop their skills. The broader economic collapse in Zimbabwe exacerbated these issues. Hyperinflation, unemployment, and poverty left the nation struggling to maintain even basic facilities. Cricket, once a unifying force, became a victim of the country's larger crisis. By the late 2000s, Zimbabwe cricket was a shadow of its former self.
In 2019, Zimbabwe cricket hit rock bottom when the ICC suspended them from international cricket due to government interference in the board's operations. This suspension was a wake-up call, highlighting the extent of the problems within Zimbabwe cricket. Although the suspension was lifted later that year, the damage to the country's cricketing reputation was immense. Despite these challenges, there have been glimmers of hope. Players like Sikandar Raza have emerged as shining lights in an otherwise dark period. Raza's consistent performances in international cricket and his success in franchise leagues have kept Zimbabwe cricket alive. Franchise cricket has also provided opportunities for Zimbabwean players to develop their skills and gain valuable exposure. The future of Zimbabwe cricket remains uncertain. The upcoming Test match against England in 2025 is a chance for redemption, but systemic issues must be addressed. Reviving grassroots development, ensuring financial stability, and restoring merit-based selection processes are essential steps toward rebuilding Zimbabwe cricket. Zimbabwe's cricketing journey is a cautionary tale, a reminder that talent alone is not enough. Without strong governance, financial management, and a commitment to nurturing young talent, even the most promising cricketing nations can fall into decline. Yet, Zimbabwe's story is also one of resilience. With the right leadership, investment, and determination, there is hope that Zimbabwe cricket can rise again and inspire a new generation of players and fans. This story is not just about cricket, it's about a nation's struggle, resilience, and the enduring hope that the game can once again bring pride to Zimbabwe. And so, the story of Zimbabwe cricket serves as a powerful reminder of how closely sport mirrors the challenges of society. It's a tale of triumph and tragedy, but most importantly, of resilience. Despite the hardships, Zimbabwe cricket has never truly lost its spirit. There are still passionate fans, talented players, and an undying hope that the sport can rise again to its former glory. As we reflect on their journey, let us remember that cricket, like life, is about perseverance. Zimbabwe's story is far from over, and with the right steps, their best days may yet lie ahead. If you found this deep dive into Zimbabwe cricket's journey insightful, make sure to like this video, share it with fellow cricket lovers, and subscribe to our channel for more stories from the world of cricket. Together, let's keep the spirit of the game alive. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.